What's up? It's your boy Carcino once again,
giving you what you want. I've been asked time after time after time about Tupac and Big Stretch. Big Stretch Walker from Live Squad. I'm like, well, you're in my zone, because this is my era, basically. Anything from like the 90s, 2000s, all the stuff with these people now. Baby, let me get it, baby. All that stuff, I gotta ask, like my cousins and all them, they keep up with it. Little Uzi Vert said somebody stole his hair dye. And these are not my pants, there's too many holes. I had 16 holes in these pants. This pants clearly got 23. So, yeah, I don't get into that. But, let's talk about the friendship. They were like brothers. Pac and Big Stretch, make no misunderstanding about that whatsoever. Those guys were brothers. They, from the moment they met and linked up, it was none but love. Now, Stretch, he had, let's say, about 7 or 8, maybe even 10 friends that was in the rap business that were rappers besides Tupac. But I wanted to let that be known, like main rappers in the game, because a lot of people think Tupac brought him into the rap game. That's not true. Big Stretch was already in the game, working with other artists, and he was cool with all these other artists coming up. He was cool with Puffy, Junior Mafia, Big E, all of them before they was even Junior Mafia or known as Biggie Smalls. He was cool with a lot of East Coast rappers. He was producing beats and doing what he did on the side before Tupac came into the picture. Once Pac came in, that was like instant bond. They were like brothers. He went everywhere with Big Stretch. Stretch took him all these different places because it allowed Pac to be able to move around freely. And it was a fact that, and a lot of people think like, oh man, Big Stretch, man, he the one brought all the bad influence around Pac. That's not true also. And I keep trying to tell people that all of this stuff is connected to the shooting that happened in Atlanta with the cops. And they just don't understand it. And how, like, are you kidding? Police corruption? Yes. If you look at that Tupac case with the rape and all that stuff that went down, you would know clearly about police corruption. Tupac was harassed and arrested and detained numerous times in California, everywhere. He became a global target by the police department after shooting 2 cops and getting away with it. And he never boasted about it. That was the thing. He didn't boast on the song about shooting the 2 cops. He didn't boast in the magazines about shooting 2 cops. That's the thing that got everybody like, man, he didn't even brag, really. Like somebody like, yeah, I shot 2 cops and I'm out on jail doing what I want to do. He didn't even boast about that. But they felt embarrassed and they wanted to get him back. Now, Stretch and Tupac used to go to schools and everything else. So when Pac went to Cali, he's like, Stretch, I want you to come with me and come out in Cali, and then you're going to rap with me he wanted Stretch around him 24/7, wherever he go, because Stretch had his back. So Tupac was looking at Stretch more like a bodyguard than an actual, like, this is my homeboy, and he godson to his kids. Him, Ed Lover, they were like best friends. Like, everywhere they rode, they were together. And Tupac and Ed Lover, they God kids to Stretch kids, so. It was just a bad situation that went left. Once it came down to this rape case, everything turned around. People think Stretch introduced Tupac to Haitian Jack. Never happened that way. He met Haitian Jack at a club he was at, and he wanted to go meet him. He was like, man, that's Tupac. He want to meet you. So they brought Tupac over to Haitian Jack's because he saw Haitian with all the girls, the drinks, and he got money. And Pac was all influenced by all this stuff because at this time, Pac got money, but not that much money. People think Tupac is balling. Tupac was basically homeless at this time. Like, not homeless like I'm broke. He just like, I'm not buying a crib or renting a crib. He was staying at people's houses or staying in hotels. That was it. If he didn't, every time he go out of town, he would just crash somewhere, and all his stuff was like it basically storage, or people then stole it. And he just be like, man, screw it, I ain't getting another crib. I'm too busy traveling and moving around. But he didn't have a crib. So to find Tupac at that time was difficult because he stayed at so many different people's homes. He stayed in Detroit. Staying at MC Breed house, sleeping on the couch, and they be like, that's Tupac? He was everywhere. Everywhere he visited, he was staying there, and he was basically managing himself. Making deals, and, it was just what it was, but I'm sorry, I had to take a yawn there. I'm tired. But anyway, after all this was done, Tupac decided to hang out more with Jack. They spending all this money. Jack is treating them and like, man, don't worry about it. We got it. We got you. Man, Pac is like, man, these dudes are really, really rich. And he telling everybody in Cali, and they was like, yeah, well, be careful. These New York dudes. He's like, man, no, I know these. I know they know my people. And so he saw Puffy and Big and all them around him. So Pac felt secure with these people. Stretch, all of them, they all knew each other. So when this rape case went down, Stretch wasn't even involved. He was hanging out with Jack and them. Because when he was hanging out with Jack, sometimes Stretch and them wouldn't even be there. He did that on his own. Then they went to a nightclub where Pac hooked up with the girl once. Went back to a room or whatever he called her before a show or after a show, and she's supposed to come over and, usually groupie stuff. Usual stuff that he does with groupies. And what she did was what groupies do. And all of a sudden, it's a rape charge. Everybody, or sexual assault. And Tupac got charged with something. They were trying to dig up they had tried to do sodomizing. They tried to get every charge they could on Tupac. But when he went to court with his lawyers and they looking around and they're like, well, where's this guy? Why is he removed from the case? And they took Haitian Jack away from the case. And he was like, he working for the feds. You know, that's naturally a brother's response when they all get arrested and then a certain person is removed from the case. Haitian Jack's name was removed from the case because, one, his lawyer separated him. He said, well, I'm going to separate you from this case because they had guns in there already in that room and you just came up to visit. You didn't get the room with them or nothing. You were visiting him in his room. So you just walked in, and that's how we're going to present your case. And by them doing it that way, Pac is like, oh, this dude's got a separate trial, separate court, and everything else. Like, oh, this dude set me up. So in his mind, he don't want really nothing to do with Jack, except for Jack is trying to reach out to him because he was like, man, let me reach out to this dude, because he was like, he left a message for Jack. And he's trying to send message to other people to give it to Pac. Like, dude, they separated this case because of the guns. You got gun charges too. And the gun charges is what's going to do him in New York. But Pac ain't trying to hear that. Man, I ain't trying to hear that. So Pac, every time he come out of court, he's hot. And then the press is out there, so he's talking to the press. He goes to a nightclub and he just start unloading. He's like, you know what? It was like one reporter there at the club. He just like gave this reporter like all this information. Saying names, everything about these drug dealers here. They got these rappers under extortion like Puffy and all these guys here, and they extorting all these rappers. And what they did is they set me up for rape, you know, and oh man, it was terrible. Naming names, and they were upset at Tupac, but they weren't gonna kill him. They said, you know what, this guy done got out of line. Let's rob him. So the wheels is put in motion for that to happen by the people who did it. And once they put this motion in action, Tupac was mad at Jack the whole time. And while he's doing that, him and Stretch and them, they meeting up at the studio to record. With, you know, we all know the Quad City incident, but Tupac was late. They were already there. Pac was traveling by himself in a cab, and he was making stops at different places. But he kept getting hit on his cell phone that he had. And it was like this little Motorola, whatever, that little flip phone he had. He was, where you at, man? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? And he was like, man, you know, it was different. And it was Stretch. His buddy Stretch. Stretch is on the phone asking him over and over again, where you at, man? Where you at? Where you at? And it was like weird that he's like, man, I never heard Stretch like that in my life. He's like, I remember it vividly, you know, how his voice was. He was like kind of nervous, like, man, you ain't bailing, like you come in here, right? You know, like concerned, like he needed me to come there. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm on my way. Yeah, just give me, you know, another 20, 30 minutes, I'll be there. He was, all right. And he was like, naturally, somebody go and wait in, you know, a place, and then they'll come out and check for you. He was like, I get there. He said, I see Lil C's and them hanging over the balcony, and he was like, whoa, what's up? Hey, that's Pac. What's up, Pac? I'm like, what's up? And he was like, he walks in, he sees his guys, he get dapped to everybody, and He's like, I'm looking, and Stretch face, it's just like, man, like, I'm sorry, like there's nothing I could do type look on his face. He's like reading expression. And next thing you know, hey, and here they come, just out of nowhere. And then get! Everybody get! And then everybody just drop to the floor and get on the ground. Then they make Pac get on the ground. Just like almost on command, all these guys couldn't subdue these dudes. He's like, they didn't even try. They just all got down. Pac was like, man, why didn't y'all just assist me? Y'all could have grabbed him. Y'all know I'm strapped. And nobody did. And that's why he tried to go for his gun, and then his gun went off, and he shot his own self in the groin region. And once he did that, then by reaction, they just started firing. And then Hot got hit, and another guy got hit that was with named Nichols. He got shot. Nobody talks about Nichols, though. Nichols got shot, too. And once it was over, it became a whole different type of situation. Now that Tupac been shot at, he ain't talked to Stretch. He didn't talk to anybody, because once he came downstairs, the first thing he did was go back. He went upstairs to where Puffy them at, and they see Tupac shot and bleeding and stuff. They like, what is wrong with this guy, dude? You need a hospital. You been shot. Him and Andre Harrell, and he's like, Puffy them look like they saw a ghost. Like I was supposed to be dead. And he was like, no, they shocked because you shot. And walking around them, they like, what in the world? Does this guy not know he shot? He's like, man, I can't believe it, man. These dudes tried to kill me, man. He in there smoking a cigarette out the ashtray. And then when he went to try to go take a pee, that's when he realized, oh man, these dudes just shot me in the groin. He's seeing all this gunpowder and stuff everywhere. And he's like, uh-oh, something's wrong. So, ever since then, it's just been him going to the hospital. He come down, they got Junior Mafia and them all up against the walls because they came down to see what was going on. And the police just threw everybody against the wall. So, Pac probably thinking that they got them all arrested. And when he put the middle finger up, he was just saying it to all of them. Like, here, F y'all. And he cut his ties. And people was like, he became paranoid because he wanted to know what happened. And he found out what happened and who wanted it and this and that. But since Stretch, who he felt set him up, was cool with Biggie, cool with Puff, cool with all them, they were all in on it too. You knew Haitian Jack, and because I did the interview, they set me up to rob me and all this. He knew everything. But he knew Biggie really didn't have nothing to do with that. But he thinking, oh, Puffy and Andre Harrell, both of them were named. Anybody that was East Coast basically set him up in his eyes. If you knew anybody connected to him, you all were guilty. And he took it personal. He really believed Stretch set him up. And it broke his heart that he felt like, man, Stretch did this to me. And Stretch trying to reach out to him. He don't even want to hear it. Nobody can come near him. Don't want to hear it from him. But that's what happened, y'all. I'm out.